Now, we ducked into Malaga for 48 hours. And we did this because there was a really bad weather system coming. In actual fact, we actually stopped right in the middle of it in Malaga. But after 48 hours, the rain went away and we were back at a place that we like, Malaga Area Beach. So the fun was enabled to resume. And this is a good place because you can spread either left or right really and buy fresh fish cooked on the beach. Or you can walk, cycle, scooter ride, or whatever your form of transport you prefer really, down into the city of Malaga. The beaches are lovely, not quite as good as the beaches on the Costa Blanca, but they're still quite good. And realistically, the place is humming with tourists. They arrive by boat, by plane, by car, and of course by motorhome, and there are a couple of decent places to stay. Now the beaches, as I talked about, but they're still very much used for the fishing industry, and these are traditional fishing craft that are still used by local fishermen today and dragged up onto the beach. And then the fish go straight from the beach, straight onto the fire and are cooked in the local restaurants. These guys are fishing. Number of rods. It's quite interesting, there's two guys here and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rods all out along the beach. And two guys managing all 9 rods. That's phenomenal. It really is.
Good girl.
All sorted?
All sorted. Good girl. Good girl.
It's been a lovely evening, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been fantastic. Nice sports bar, good music, sport on the TV, hence the name Sports Bar, and a great view. So it doesn't get much better than that for me.
I know.
And a dog that's like to dig in the beach.
Yeah, a dog. There aren't too many beaches up here, are there, where dogs can go? So it's quite good, really.
No, it's been
it's been a wild day weather-wise, but a wild couple of days weather-wise, but it changes tomorrow. And so we're going to pack up, we're going to go to Gibraltar tomorrow. So we'll see where we get to.
We've arrived at a place we've wanted to visit on a couple of our trips to Spain. We're here at Gibraltar and we've parked in the marina, and I'll show you exactly where we are. So this is the motorhome parking at Gibraltar.
A short walk from the marina car park where we were staying, and you approach the rock in all its magnificence. In fact, it's probably its best view of it is from this side, from the Spanish border. It's about a 10-15 minute walk down towards border control, and we get ready to go through the passport control where there is both Spanish and UK border authorities in place to check and do things as border guards do. So you come through Spanish customs, who checked and scanned and photographed our passports, then into UK customs border control, who'll check the passports, but just it was a cursory check through, and then there's a tourist information office just as you're coming through the buildings. And here we are on the other side of the security barrier. And interestingly enough, not only has the rain appeared, which gives you a good old England feel, but we're actually on Winston Churchill Avenue. So the rain's come down, it's definitely UK weather now. Sun's shining over the other side of the border, it's raining here. But anyway, we're now this way, it's the main sort of thoroughfare through, it's the only way you can come. You actually walk over the airport runway. So what we're about to do now is the runway for Gibraltar itself, on the UK side. Not a very busy airport, I don't think. But there. When we get to the middle, it'll become easy to see, despite the rain. We're walking through what's called the Landport Tunnel now. It takes you towards the city centre. So it's rained quite heavily, so we dropped in for a bite to eat. English breakfast and a pint of English lager.
Because it would be rude not to have a pint of English lager.
If anything, we didn't really have English breakfast, did we? We had Spanish breakfast, really.
Breakfast,
There's still a lot of Spanish here and a lot of English combined. It's quite interesting, really, the mix.
This is entirely like being back in the UK, not only with the weather, but this whole place here is like walking down a UK town centre as it was about 30 years ago, but it's really good.
The place is full of naval history, and obviously its most famous moment really was anything to do with Nelson. More of that in a minute. But one of the first interesting places we came across was a graveyard where the sailors that were killed in the Battle of Trafalgar were actually buried. Some were buried at sea, but those that died of their injuries on land were buried in this little cemetery. Now it was locked and we couldn't walk down, but you could see the gravestones down this really nice, peaceful bit of territory that's been preserved for them. It's quite a nice moment, really. There are naval guns all over, pointed out to sea. It gives you some idea of historically how important the Straits of Gibraltar were militarily. That's an amazing mosque. That's the King Fahad bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud Mosque, and it's impressive. Now this part of Gibraltar is called Europa Point, and it's right on the end. We were intrigued by this big gun with the cork in the middle. Obviously it doesn't fire anymore. There's also a really nice lighthouse in red and white hoops, which is how they should be, of course. Underneath the gun is this historical centre that tells you about the Gibraltar during the World Wars, and the Gibraltar Defence Force, its role in the British Empire. In the late October 1805, a sea battle was fought a short distance along the coast, west of Gibraltar, between British and Franco-Spanish fleets. The location was the Cape of Trafalgar, and although it concluded with the death of the brilliant and charismatic British commander Horatio Nelson, the overwhelming victory of the British Navy was so resounding that the following century the Navy was considered invincible.
Pirates. On the 10th of September 1540, a corsair pirate called Barbarossa, otherwise known as Redbeard, led an assault on Gibraltar, and they ransacked the shrine on the top of the hill.
This is a Polish Air Force memorial made by the Prime Minister of Poland, by the look of things.
General Władysław Sikorski. Now there's an aviation name, if ever I heard one.
Do you know what the most successful Battle of Britain squadron nationality was?
Polish. By the guess of it. When Nelson died in 1805 at the Battle of Trafalgar on board HMS Victory, his body was brought to Gibraltar and landed here at the Rosier Battery. It's here that it was placed in a barrel of brandy to preserve it, and then it was shipped back to England.
So we wanted to come to Gibraltar really for a number of reasons, but mainly because this is where the last events of Admiral Horatio Nelson's life were played out.
We've been to the place where he was born, where he grew up, and where he learnt to sail. So it only seemed right that we needed to come here to close the final chapter of that book.
And it's been a fascinating journey today, to be fair.
It's been really interesting.
If you're interested at all in naval history and the history around Nelson, it's really, really worth a trip.
Yeah.
And you get blown away really by the the maritime history here and the space that is the sea.
Yeah. I think it's what's surprising, there's obviously a lot of maritime history here, but when you look, this is a very busy port. There's the dry docks, you can see all the boats and the ships moored out at sea, and of course it's the Straits of Gibraltar, one of the main trading routes, so it's a really interesting place to visit.
But at the end of a very long day where we were dodging the showers for most of it, to be fair, it was time to walk back across the airport runway and back towards the Spanish border and border controls, where things were done in reverse, of course. But it was interesting for one point as well, is that the sheer amount of Spanish people that come onto the island or onto the rock to work and then go home back into mainland Spain. And we found as well that this was very much some duality in terms of English and Spanish custom. Some very English customs, some Spanish customs, and some that are clearly merged for the island. You can probably get a sense from the wind how windy it's becoming here. We're going to bail out early, I think. There's our 40-50 mile an hour winds coming through. And of course it's completely exposed here, so it's not the same as having them in valleys and glens. So yeah, we're going to hit the road, but I thought I'd just show you the facilities here before we set off. And this is a cost of £14 a day. There is hard standing parking on the marina. It's secure, safe, security patrolled, very convenient for walking over into Gibraltar. As you can see, the rock is just there, and in front of the rock is the airport runway, which you've seen some pictures of us walking over. So what do you think of Gibraltar?
I enjoyed Gibraltar. Yeah, it was on the bucket list to tick off, so I'm really glad that we've been.
See, we're Norfolk fans and Nelson fans, and we've been to Nelson's birth, as we said, as Helen said, and it was good for us. We feel as if we've, what was that expression that they used to use that I never really understood, squared the circle?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. We've seen where he was born, where he learned to sail.
Who comes up with these sayings?
Yeah, that was good.
And the town was good. It was... the town centre itself was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was different. It was very much like a town centre you would have come across maybe 10, 15 years ago, before everything went to sort of out-of-town shopping centres, and quite a few independent shops, but some brands that you would have recognised from the high street back in England as well. So
good shops.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, very good. The place itself felt, to be fair, felt very busy. It's clearly now a big commercial centre. There's a lot of commercial buildings, and I would suggest that for finance and service sector industry, it's very busy. Yeah. The roads are very busy because there's an awful lot of people coming in from Spain to work there and going home. I mentioned it in the video, is that as you're travelling home, we managed to walk across at the same time as most people were going home from work, and it felt very busy, didn't it?
Very busy, yeah.
So to the point where when we got over the border back into Spain, it felt quiet, and I think we both went, it's a busy, thriving place.
It is. Yeah.
And for that, I think it's probably somewhere we probably won't go back to, but that doesn't detract from what it is. It's an experience that we're glad we've done, I think.
Yeah, very much so. You know? Yeah.
So now we're going to move. We're going to have to change our plans a little bit. We're going to Portugal, definitely. We were going to go across to and upwards towards the cities, Lisbon especially. But there is some really, really heavy bad weather coming in. We've had a bit of a taster of it the next couple of days, but Lisbon's having a fair old bashing to the point where they've declared an emergency. So we're going to head to the Algarve where the weather's better, and we'll see you there. That's the beauty of this life, isn't it? You can move and chase the weather.
Yeah, flexibility.
Flexibility. We'll see you soon. Martin out.
Helen out.